It is a privilege for each one of you to be invited up here today. You think you know of our order, of our founding in 1119, our quest for domination during the Crusades, the vast treasure and the decline at the end of the 12th century, and finally, our resurgence as Abstergo. You know nothing. It is time to begin your real education.
I have learned that genuine knowledge only comes to those who truly hunger for it. I have learned that power must be wielded by those above the fray, for only they can see the interweaving of the pattern. And I have learned that wisdom is the execution of power guided by knowledge and understanding. Simon Hathaway, the head of Abstergo Industries' Historical Research Division and member of the Inner Sanctum of the Templar Order. The Templar Order is a secret organization that has been involved in many historical events that shaped our world. The Order has been around as long as men can remember. The exact origin of where this organization came from or was founded is unknown, but the Templars most likely existed during the first civilization era, with legends telling us that Cain, the son of Adam and Eve, was the first Templar. Our world mostly know them as the religious order of the Knights Templars that lived during the Crusade era. But that is just an illusion. The order existed in some form before the birth of Christ and was already an active force. At one moment in history, the Templars got discredited and hunted down by the French king Philip the Fair. The Templars barely survived and rebuilt their order over time. But since that day, they tried to work more in the shadows and hide their existence from the public, hence why we don't see Templar logos everywhere anymore. The order is still active in the modern day, now known under a new name and face since the beginning of the 20th century as Abstergo Industries. But how are the Templars still alive? Well, it's their ideology, philosophy and ideas. But what do they want and hope to create? Well, that is something I will talk about today. Do you swear to uphold the principles of our order and all that for which we stand, and never to share our secrets nor divulge the true nature of our work? I do. And to do so from now until death, whatever the cost, I do. Then we welcome you into our fold, brother. You are now a Templar, and a harbinger of a new world. May the Father of Understanding guide us. These are the 3 pledges of the Templar Order. We seek to enforce peace whatever the cost. If you form a threat to our ideology, ideas, we will go after you. Your family too, if we have to. We don't share our information with the world, because that will expose us, hinder our plans, and create chaos. Once you have become a Templar, you always will be a Templar until death takes you from this world. Except if certain circumstances change that. Leaving the order is nearly impossible once you joined us. You could give away information to the public or to our enemies, the assassins, and reveal our existence to the world. Breaking these 3 rules could lead to your execution. Same can be said if you refuse to join the order or try to leave it. You're in danger now for us. But does that matter? Does it matter if we kill one person, so long there will be peace if millions more can live? The Templar Order seeks to create the perfect world. A world without war and suffering. A world with purpose, direction, safety. A world without chaos. We want to shape a new world of peace, free of crime and war. The Order of the Knights Templar strongly believe that science and technology will help them to achieve their goal and make the life of humanity better. The Templars believe that the only way to achieve this goal is by letting only a few enlightened people decide the fate and direction of humanity. These enlightened individuals are Templars because they see the world as it truly is. The Templar Order supports centralized leadership and governments. They do not support anarchy or chaos. The Templar realization of the world is that humanity is chaotic and needs guidance, purpose, direction to bring peace to the world. Ever wondered why our history books are filled with war and death? It's because no one fights under one banner, and that is why freedom and free will are dangerous. Humankind is destroying itself. It's pathetic really. Pay attention to your history teacher. The history of the world. The evidence is all there. 1,000 years ago there was war and death, and society still uses these barbaric instincts today. But like I said, if we were united under one banner and the wisest of us are in charge, there will be peace. Why be optimistic on humanity? Why give a choice in its destiny? Ever wanted that? Answer is, it only will lead to chaos. Order, not chaos. Free will sounds fun, of course, but should we really have free will? Man wants free will, but that leads to chaos, just like too much freedom of choice. Because of these two, there will always be conflict among men and an unharmonious society that creates conflict. Only through careful guidance can men achieve harmony and world peace. The Templar ideology centers on the idea that structure and order allows humankind to transcend its baser violent tendencies. Humankind cannot be trusted to govern itself, so more enlightened individuals should guide us to a better world, a better society, and better future. No crime, no fear, so we can have the best functional society and to aspire to the greater good. Humankind was created to serve the first civilization, our creators, a highly advanced race that was ahead of our time. By this fact, famous Templars like Kenobi believe that humankind should be led by certain enlightened individuals and not by the common people. The responsibility of choice, freedom and free will is too big to bear. It's one of the reasons why we fall so quick in line to follow others. Some Templars of our order want to completely destroy free will and freedom in any way possible so that there will be peace. Achieving goals. The Templars have many ways to achieve their goals for peace. They will insert their own men in the governments to guide the people and give the people the illusion of choice, free will and freedom. By giving the illusion, the people think they have a say and believe that they are in charge, but they aren't. It's an illusion, and so there won't be chaos. The Templars carefully plan the future and make sure all the right choices are made. So if the people choose a new leader or a minister, the Templars always will have some form of influence on the matter. It's not uncommon that in medieval times Templars were in charge of armies and attacked cities to take control and to wipe out their enemies or started revolutions. Most of these were necessary to create the new world, at whatever the cost is. Some Templars will tell you that it's for the greater good, and I ask you, does it matter if we destroy a few people's lives? If hundreds, no, hundreds of thousands more can be saved, I ask you.
Your ancestors almost had the right idea, Mr. Miles. If the deaths of a few people, evil people, no less, could save the lives of thousands more, well, it seems a small sacrifice.
But there were Templars though that looked down upon this way of achieving their goals. Governor Torres, the leader of the West Indies Templar Right in the 18th century. A right, by the way, is basically, short to say, a Templar faction located in a country or place. Searched with his fellow Templars for the Observatory, a first civilization site. This site contained an artifact that could locate every man or woman around the world. Through this artifact we can see through the eyes of an individual and hear what he or she has to say or what he or she hears. And all of that is simply done by a small little sample of blood of the individual put inside the artifact. By using the artifact, there will be no secrets among men, and threats will easily be eliminated. We can achieve peace through this device. People can finally sleep safely in their beds, go to work and return home and watch television with their family, unknowingly of what plays behind the scenes, and that we keep them safe from themselves. It's also a fact that some Templars supported the concept of slavery and practiced it themselves. Some of these Templars experimented on the slaves to find effective ways of indoctrination. A Templar doctor that lived during the Crusade era, Garnier de Naples. Sorry that I'm butchering his name, I'm really bad at name pronunciations and English is my second language. Believed he was helping his patients by making them his slaves. Garnier gathered the most poorest and illest people from cities that lived in prison sewers and brothels against their will. He believed he could free them from the prisons of their own minds, and he used herbs, mixtures and extracts to change his patients' minds. He made them his guards because they were wasting their lives, and they could spend their lives better to serve others who saw the bigger picture, that of the Templars, a world of peace and free of conflict. During the 19th century in London, the Templars of the British Rite used child labor to achieve their goals and didn't mind that the children were doing dangerous work. During the Great Purge, for those who do not know what the Great Purge is, it was basically an event in the modern day era where the arch enemies of the Templar Order, the assassins, were hunted down to almost extinction by the Templars. Not even children were spared, they were gunned down. Some Templars like Warren Fiddick in Alvaro Grammatica didn't even mind to experiment on children, so long it gained something for the Templar Order. But not everyone agreed with these practices though. Some found it necessary while others thought it was inhuman. I do like to point out that not everyone agreed on the concept of slavery and found it questionable at best. Governor Torres didn't agree with the concept of slavery, but he believed that if you enslave the body, the mind will resolve. Your spirits will fight back. So we need to control the minds of the people, so they will follow naturally. The Templar Wooden Watchers was expelled from the order because he worked in slave trading. The Templar Order often worked with the church too, not because they believed in the religion, but to spread the influence. There was a dark age for the order. The Templar ideology and philosophy can easily seduce its members to obtain power for themselves and not to create a world of peace and spread the Templar ideals. During the 15th century, the Templars of the Italy Rite were more obsessed with obtaining personal power instead of using it for the Templar ideals and helping mankind. A prime example of this would be the Borgia family. The Borgias were a Templar family. Rodrigo Borgia was greedy and searched to obtain power for his own selfish reasons. He became Alexander VI, or better to say, the Pope. He became Pope not because he had respect for the church and its beliefs, but because of all the power he could gain. He literally became the most powerful man in all of Europe and wanted to use the Apple of Eden and the Staff of Eden to open the Vatican vault, believing he will obtain even more power by doing so. His son Cesare Borgia was just like his father and didn't mind to kill everyone who stood in his way. Not even family was safe. The modern day Templars still talk about the Borgia family or think about them sometimes, but not in high regards. As a Templar, you must create a safe environment where everyone can live in peace with guidelines to keep order and not use it for your own personal reasons. Thomas Hickey, a member of the colonial Templar Order during the 18th century, could care less about the ideas of the Templar Order and he only cared about his own personal goals. If he had to kill someone for it, so be it. To make sure the Templars wouldn't get corrupt, the Black Cross was created. In short to say, the Black Cross was basically a title bestowed on someone inside the order to keep sure that everyone stayed in line. And the person that was bestowed the Black Cross title was allowed to use deadly force if needed to remove a Templar if he or she became corrupt or started doing things for their own gain. Not many Templars in the order know who the Black Cross is, so better be on guard. Even before the birth of Christ, women were allowed to be part of the order. The order also existed out of people of all cultures. Chinese, English, black, white, and etc. you name it. Yes, it's true that Templars owned slaves, but as I said, there were dark-skinned members in the order who didn't seem to mind to be part of the order. Did you know that nearly every single breakthrough in the last millennium, philosophy, mechanical and medical, came from Abstergo or its predecessors? I bold claim, I know. It's hard to swallow that pill, but we certainly don't take the credit for it. That will cause far too much suspicion, but choose our beneficiaries with great care. Why, you ask, why will we do that? Well, it's simple. It's so we can stay in control. There will be peace and no chaos amongst men. No war. We steer the ship in the right direction, so you can live a peaceful life at home. We make sure you have electricity to run your daily life. Give you medicine if you get ill. Abstergo Pharmaceuticals is especially focused on medication. If your baby is very sick, we search for ways to heal your sick child. But the only thing we ask from you in return is obedience.
Electricity. Monitored by Abstergo. Home, sweet home.
Of course, we can't take all the credit for creating all of the wonderful things you see around you. You see, they are gifts. Gifts, you ask me? Well, from those who came before. Our creators have many names. The Isu, the first civilization, the precursor race. Our creators eventually slowly died out when the sun unleashed its fury on the world a couple of thousands of years ago. The artifacts, the fragments of Eden, or however you want to call them, have survived to this day. It's the legacy of those who came before. The pieces of Eden are powerful relics that contain a lot of knowledge and power. We use the knowledge of the pieces of Eden and what is left of the precursor race to search ways to improve our daily lives, but also to control. Our arch enemies, the assassins, don't like to use pieces of Eden on the people, but we know different. With the power of the pieces of Eden, we can send the world in one direction. There will be order, there will be purpose, there will be peace. We will create the new world, a world free of conflict. There will be peace in everything and in everyone.
The world needs order. That is what we're working towards, and that is what you're helping us to achieve.
You expect me to believe you're building a better tomorrow?
That's exactly what we're doing. The human race calls out for direction. They want to know why they're here, what they're meant to do. Well, we're going to tell them. And once they understand how to live their lives, everything will be better.
Better how?
An end to all conflicts, large and small. Isn't that what you assassins strive for? Peace in all things?
Ever heard of the Abstergo project? We wanted to send a satellite into space that contained an apple of Eden. The point was that we could control the population, but our artifact unfortunately was destroyed, so we had to search for a new one. We were so close, I tell you. We were so close, but those annoying assassins stood in our way. But that will be a story for another time. We simply tell you that you won't be a problem for others if you simply do as you're told. We don't care if you're a child or an elderly person. You will do as you're told or you will face the consequences. Templars were allowed to marry and have children. While not everyone was interested in having children, many Templars raised their children to think like Templars and to step in their parents' shoes. And the life of a Templar was often very luxury. It's not uncommon that Templars raise their children in self-defense. To name one example of a parent Templar training his or her children, it will be Shay Patrick Cormac. He trained his son and grandson in the art of combat and to hunt down assassins and to be loyal to the order. Becoming a parent in the modern age was much better. The modern day assassins were weak and almost wiped from the face of the earth, and so they were less of a threat than they used to be. Not even Templars were free of control. Don't mistake the Templars for only controlling the people and while breaking in on their privacy, they even do it on themselves. Johanni Otzelberg, a Templar, became a member of the Inner Sanctum. In short to say, he became a very high-ranking member of the Order. And immediately, he was injected with a transmitter to follow his every step after becoming an Inner Sanctum member. He was now a powerful Templar. Imagine if he goes rogue. We need to stop him, of course. Everyone who is unfamiliar with the Templars believe they are a religious order that believe in God, but most of them only use the church to achieve their goals. There were religious Templars, of course, but there were many who looked down upon the idea of God and didn't believe in the afterlife. One example of this was a Templar who lived during the Crusade era. He feared that because he didn't believe there was an actual god or an afterlife, so when he knew an assassin was hunting him down, he feared for his life.
Of course I am afraid.
But you'll be safe now, held in the arms of your god.
Have my brothers taught you nothing? I know what waits for me. For all of us.
If not your god, then what?
Nothing. Nothing waits. And that is what I fear.
You don't believe.
How could I, given what I know? What I've seen? Our treasure was the proof.
Proof of what?
That this life is all we have.
Religion was not excluded from the order, but just like the assassins, meeting someone who believes in God will not happen often, mostly depending on the era. Like the assassins, the Templars like to walk in the dark, or else they will reveal their existence to the world. But because most of them have high social statuses, they don't have the pleasure to stay indoor 24 hours. So they have to go out much more than the assassins do. Not only that, but if one found out about the Templars' existence, there's a chance that they will be hunted down and murdered.
You must have gotten Abstergo's attention.
Well, fortunately, I got Rebecca's first. Otherwise, I'd probably be at the bottom of a river.
You're welcome.
Joining the Order, becoming a full Templar member. To join the Order, you must be either born in the Templar family that's already presented into the Order or be recruited. According to history, the initiation ceremony has changed through the years and is often tolerated to the particular rite the inductee belongs to. A ceremony usually involves oaths to uphold the Order's philosophy, a vow of silence regarding the identities of fellow Templars, and bestowing of a Templar ring. A Templar ring is bestowed on initiates during the ceremony by one of his or her fellow Templars. The ring identifies its wearer as a member of the Templar Order. The design of these rings are mostly very simple and have the Templar symbol on them, the red cross pattern. The use of these rings began sometime before the 18th century and are still worn by Templars in the modern day era. Rings that belong to deceased Templars are often passed down to new initiates, carrying the weight and symbolism of the previous owner's deeds with them. Near the end of the 18th century, the Parisian whites stopped using rings and replaced them with silver pins in the shape of the cross of the Templar. Surrounded by an elaborate design, the small blade extending down from the cross could be used as an action weapon to kill an opponent in a fight.
May the Father of Understanding guide us.
May the Father of Understanding guide us.
May the Father of Understanding guide us.
The Father of Understanding guide us is a phrase mostly used by the Templars during a ceremony, a meeting, or as a greeting of one another. The phrase refers to a sense of order, the logic embraced by the Templars, and the work they do to reform the world. A common misconception of the phrase, "May the Father of Understanding guide us," is that the phrase started with Julius Caesar, and that he was the Father of Understanding. But the title goes way back. According to Darby McDevitt, one of the writers of the Assassin's Creed franchise. There is still mystery surrounding this title, where it came from, how old it is, how someone came up with the title, and much more. It's not uncommon that there will be a celebration after the initiation ceremony, when Elise was inducted into the Order. Her father, who also is a Templar, threw a party in the name of her. As a Templar, you will be the harbinger of the new world, a world of peace. We are in control. And what does that mean, you ask? It means peace in everything and everyone. You realize that mankind needs guidance and should be led by a few enlightened people, because you know the world is a chaotic mess. We make antidepressants and develop prosthetic legs, and all we ask in return is obedience, because if there is control, there will be no conflict. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video on the Templar ideology and philosophy. It's not as long as my previous video on the Assassin ideology, which was almost 40 minutes long. And I hope that everyone has a great day or night wherever you are.